So if you remember that we discussed the privileged accounts or our privileged identities, what are the privileged identities and everything. Now let's say if you were given a task to identify the privileged accounts in the AD, in the domain, I would say somebody gives you a task that tell me how many privileged identities are available in this particular domain or in a server. Now anything which is having the elevated access is termed as a privileged identity. So let's say what we have discussed in our earlier session, something which is appearing in the domain admin group, something which is appearing in the local administrator group, something which is appearing in enterprise admin group would be termed as privileged account or privileged identities. Now let's say if somebody given you a task to identify the privileged identities, how you would be able to do that. So that's in the CPM there is one more functionality called the CPM scanning. Scanning is nothing but identification of privileged identities available in a server or in an environment or in a complete domain. So whatever the environment you have, you can get to know the complete privileged identities or the number of privileged identities. For an example, let me make it full screen for a better view. If I go to here, so here we have groups. Okay, here we have lots of groups available. So if I were to identify the privileged identities, I will either look into this group, domain admin group. I will check the accounts available under this, or I will navigate to this thing, enterprise admin. This will also indicate the privileged entities, but it's a manual task. Let's say if I were to do for lot of servers, or I would say lot of domains, in that case CPM provides us a functionality called the CPM scanning, which basically discover all the privileged identities. So we will see that in detail as well. So basically there are two functions. The one we have discussed already yesterday, the password management, wherein we are doing the verification, change and reconciliation. The second is the CPM scanning, wherein we are identifying the privileged identities available in the system. So this is our CPM that we had yesterday, which were having an issue. So this was the CPM. Now we would be installing another CPM. I have one more environment available. Let me check the version of it as well. That's 12.2. Now, one thing, guys, CPM and PVW can be installed on the same server. there is nothing like you need to have a separate server. You can use the same server for both of this component to be installed. So I would be installing in the PVWA, in which I have the PVWA installed. Let me just show you the PVWA for this. Better we will use it in the later phase. I'll just switch off this thing. Okay, this is our PVWA. Now we will be installing CPM as well in this. So yesterday we were unable to do so. Today we will install CPM. Let me just bring in the CPM setup. So this is one of the CPM which is already installed in this environment. Okay. So this is the already installed CPM. I will show you the services available for this, and then we will install another CPM. So if you see here, there are two services. The first is the CyberArk Central Policy Manager Scanner service, which basically identifies the privileged accounts sitting in different things. Whatever the task given to you, you can get this thing done by this privileged this with this service. The second is the CyberArk Password Manager, which is intended for verification, change, and reconciliation. So let us install first. I mean, without wasting any further time. Let me uninstall this, or maybe let me unzip this thing, the CPM package. And let's quickly install the private R client as well on the same server. So we're installing private R client first, and then we'll install CPM as well. Now we have installed private R client. Let us install the prerequisites quickly for this. Let's first install the .NET framework. And in parallel, let's install the prerequisites as well. So we might get an issue for the .NET framework. It might not be able to confirm it whether the version is right or not, but rest apart we should be able to install as a prerequisite whatever the things apart from .NET framework it can install. So I'll just go to the central policy manager, go to this installation automation, go to this PowerShell as an administrator. /cpm. And let me try installing CPM as well, because we have the PWA already installed on this server. So probably we should have the .NET version available. Let me double check it before actually we do so. So if I go to control panel, programs, programs and features, as of now, .NET framework seems not available here. So there is a command as well through which you can, it's already installed, yes. So we can close it. There is a command through which you can check the .NET framework version. It will not appear in the computers, sorry, on the control panel here. So we are good with the CPM installation by now. So I'll go to setup, run as an administrator. And let me collect the vault IP from here. It's 145. So just like we have seen in the PWA, we have the users created PWA app user and the PWA gateway user, which basically consumes the license. For CPM, we have one user created, that is password manager user, that gets created in the CPM installation. So that will again consume a license. We will see that there would be certain saves and there is a user called PWA password manager gets created in the vault. So this is the second CPM I'm installing. So I will say yes, there is an update or previous version of Policy Manager. You have already have the central Policy Manager vault environment on your vault. So no, So we'll say yes because this is the second CPM we are installing now. 192, 168, 140.145. Okay, let me select this one only. I will explain you why I have selected this. And it is asking the username. So now the username will be password manager 1 because the password manager is already created as per the previous installation. So I have two CPMs. The one that I have already installed, this is the second CPM we are installing. So hence it is taking the name password manager 1. So we'll go ahead with the same name. Now it's creating the environment. So creating is nothing but creation of safe and creation of users. Now you see here installing additional plugin software. Plugin, as I told you, these are the executables which are needed for CPM to change the password. So for every target machine, we have a different plugin. For Windows, we have a different plugin. For Unix, we have a different plugin. So I mean, there are a lot of plugins, shared by CyberArk during the course of installation. If something is not appearing in the plugin detail, we can also import it from the CyberArk repository called CyberArk Marketplace. So let's say if I were to onboard firewall in my CyberArk, I want to manage the credentials for firewall, Cisco firewall for an example, Cisco ASA firewall I should say, and the plugin is not available. So I can import it from the marketplace. So now we have installed the CPM today, and now let us check the services. It won't require any reboot. And if I navigate to C drive, Windows, temp, CPM. So here we have the installation logs created. Windows 10, be it CPM, PWA, PSM, you can refer the logs after the installation gets over. Okay, so as of now, we don't see any kind of any misleading error or anything. We are good. It looks fine. So now it's appearing in the error, but these are not error because it is saying that a lot of things are already defined in the world. If you see here, this particular things are already defined in the world because this is the second CPM we have installed it. So that's the reason it has not created those things which are already created in the world. Let's say there were some safes that were created. So since the safes are already available in the vault, it has not recreated them or not recreated any kind of copy of them. It basically used the same one. Okay. Now the second thing we will see is the service. So basically there are two services that gets added once you install the CPM. Now you can see there is Central Policy Manager Scanner Service, which basically scans the thing. Central Policy Manager Scanner Service enable enterprises to detect new machines. In order to provision privileged accounts. So we can identify the privileged accounts appearing in different machines. Then this is the CyberArk Password Manager service, which is basically used for change, reconcile, and verification. So if I open PVWA now, you will see as soon as you install any component, it appears in the CyberArk PVWA page. It basically identifies the health status of that. So there is something called health system health. Now you can see that we have one vault here. Okay, this is the primary vault. We have one PVWA which is connected. We have two CPM. Okay, which is both are connected. If you see them disconnected, that means the service is not running. We have one PSM. Okay, we have two PSM, and one of which is connected and one of which is not connected because I have switched off that PSM. PTA is not installed, so that everything is available in this dashboard. Now let us navigate to the this thing uh, what I was saying, account discovery that I was sharing this scanner service. So let's say if I want to scan something, okay, I will go to here, pending accounts and discovery. Now let's say somebody has given me a task to identify how many privileged accounts are there in my Active Directory or a domain. So I will go to this discovery management. We can discover Unix machines as well. We can discover Windows machine as well. So I'm selecting new Windows discovery as of now, which is basically for the Windows, and the domain would be, I think that's let me double check the domain once again. Yeah, it's withitLab.com. Now for scanning the domain, I need to have the credentials to scan them as well. So I will simply select the admin domain admin account and the admin one and the password for this. CyberArk one. Now it is asking whether I want to scan the entire OU. So you might have heard in AD we have different organizational unit. So whether we want to scan the entire AD or the domain, or you want to scan only specific OU. So if I browse here, I think the password could have been wrong here. So now it is able to connect since the password was wrong. Now I can scan any OU of my choice, whether the computers, domain controllers, but I would be interested in scanning the entire OU. Now you can see which CPM scanner to use. Since we have two CPM in this environment, we can select any of the CPM. If I drop down from here, we have password manager 1, password manager, and the password manager 1. So there are two CPMs. Let's select the latest one which we have installed. Now whether we want this particular scan to happen on a recurring basis, like I want to run the scan. Let's say if somebody is setting up accounts on a periodic basis, or somebody recreates some account, so that should be identifiable. So we can make it one time or we can make it recurring. So I'll make it one time at this moment and I'll click on done. So now in a short time, you will see that, whatever the privileged identities I have, that would be appearing over here. So it is actually in the pending state as of now. And shortly we will see all the privileged accounts which are set up in my Active Directory. So I have a choice. Now let's say if the account is not being used by anyone, I can get it delete straightforward because I do not want it to be compromised. Let's say if there are hundreds of accounts which are identified, okay, out of which some accounts are not being used by anyone. It is just created for the sake of convenience, but it is not being used by anyone. So we can get them deleted from the system, or I can onboard it in CyberArk. The password would be managed by CyberArk. So going onwards, it would have a complex password. So as we have discussed, the weak password implies to weak hash values, and weak hash values are vulnerable for cyber attacks. So CyberArk will generate a very complex password for that once we basically onboard that, and they would be secured. So it's 67% done. Let it be 100%. We will see all the accounts there. Now it will segregate between a privileged account and the non-privileged account. Now you can see that it has basically identified these accounts. There is an admin one account. The age is 0 days because we have just changed the password today, and administrator, which is privileged as well. Again, administrator is there. Whatever the servers I have in my domain, it has identified all the privileged and non-privileged account. It will keep on doing all the things. Now I think it's completed. Okay, it's completed here. So now I can get to know how many privileged accounts are there in my domain, how many non-privileged accounts are there as well. You can see there is a lot of things which are developed or discovered over here. So this is called the CPM scanning, wherein you can identify the privileged account sitting in your environment. This is the first function of the CPM, which is called the CPM scanning. The second thing is the password management. Okay, how to change the password, how to verify the password, how to reconcile the password. So for doing so, we should be aware about what is password on account onboarding and what are the things needed for account onboarding.